Have you ever seen that little engine light pop on and thought, if only I could just reset this in 10 seconds? You're not alone. But here's the truth. Sometimes you can. And sometimes trying might hide a much bigger problem. In this video, we'll break down the quick resets that actually worked and the ones that could cost you thousands if ignored. Want to know the difference between a harmless reset and a dangerous warning? Stick with me, because the first 5 seconds could change how you treat your car forever. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Did you know there are countless YouTube videos that promise you can erase any dashboard warning light in just a few seconds? All it takes, they say, is a quick reset trick. No tool, no hassle, no cost. For many drivers, that sounds like a winning shortcut. Who wouldn't want to believe that solving a car issue is as simple as holding down a button or flipping the ignition on and off a couple of times? It feels like discovering a secret cheat code, giving you power over something that normally sends people straight to the repair shop and straight into an expensive bill. But here's where the story turns. Those so-called magical resets might make the light disappear. But what if the light was never the problem to begin with? Think about it. Dashboard lights aren't there to annoy you, they're there to warn you. A simple reset doesn't fix the reason the light came on, it only hides it. That means for some issues, especially subtle ones, you might be clearing away the very signal that could have saved you from serious damage down the road. And not all warning lights are made equal. A faulty sensor that harmlessly glitches could trigger the exact same orange check engine icon that would appear if your engine was misfiring. To the untrained eye, both symbols look identical, yet those situations couldn't be more different. One means your car's brain is picking up sloppy data. The other means raw fuel could be slipping into the exhaust, doing lasting harm in minutes. Take Nissan's own malfunction indicator light, often called the MIL, as an example. In their guide, the difference between a steady glow and a flashing signal carries huge weight. A solid light typically represents a stored error, which needs attention but doesn't demand you cut the engine immediately. A blinking light, however, points towards something active and severe, like ongoing misfires that can quickly destroy a catalytic converter. That's not a cheap part. Repairs can climb well over $1,000 if ignored. This shows the danger of a one-size-fits-all mindset some videos sell. The idea that every light can be silenced the same way in 10 seconds is simply false. At best, you're delaying a trip to the mechanic. At worst, you're covering up the very signal that should have stopped you in your tracks. Because the truth is, a dashboard reset isn't therapy, it's a mute button, and depending on the situation, hitting mute could cost you far more in repairs than you were trying to save. So while the internet may tempt you with universal hacks, the real question is more complicated. Which warning lights can you safely reset on your own after everything has been fixed? And which ones demand professional attention immediately? That's where knowing the difference can literally protect both your car and your wallet. And to answer that, you first need to understand what the light is actually telling you. Have you ever noticed that sometimes a dashboard light just stays on and other times it blinks? Most drivers look at both and think of them as the same warning, but that's not true. The way the light behaves completely changes the meaning, and ignoring that detail could be the difference between safely finishing your drive or breaking down with a costly repair on your hands. A solid light and a blinking light may use the same little icon, but the urgency is nowhere near the same. The mistake many people make is treating any warning as a simple annoyance. You see the light pop on, maybe you think it's a gas cap issue, maybe you believe it's a computer glitch, and the first instinct is to reset it. But the truth is that the behavior of the light, whether constant or flashing, is the car talking to you in two very different languages. Where one is a note to schedule diagnosis soon, the other is a red alert to stop what you're doing right now. Take Nissan's malfunction indicator light, for instance. According to their official guide, a steady glow lets you know the system has stored a problem. It could be anything from an emissions sensor acting up to a minor engine calibration issue. In short, it's something you should get checked, but it's not necessarily a roadside emergency. A blinking check engine light, on the other hand, points straight toward an active engine misfire, and that's a very real danger. In fact, a misfire like that sends unburnt fuel into the exhaust. And the part most at risk is your catalytic converter. Once that overheats and breaks down, you're suddenly looking at a repair bill that can easily climb to thousands of dollars. Shops like Highland Tire emphasize the same point. If the check engine light starts flashing while you're driving, don't push through it. Don't try to ignore it. And certainly don't try to reset it and hope it disappears. A flashing light is your car's way of yelling at you to shut it down before more damage builds up. Imagine driving past that warning over and over again. What feels like saving time on the road could quickly snowball into a massive, avoidable expense. For example, a catalytic converter replacement often costs well over $2,000 in many vehicles. That's before you even consider the labor and any related parts burned out along the way. All of it avoidable if the driver understood that flashing meant danger in real time. Now, compare that to experiencing a solid light. While it still signals a problem stored in memory, it doesn't call for pulling over right this second. You may still continue driving to a safe spot, or even finish the commute, then schedule a professional check. But ignoring the blinking signal? That's risking critical damage every minute the engine is running. So here's the takeaway you can use right now. Blinking equals urgent stop. Solid equals diagnose soon. Once you understand that difference, you can respond safely and avoid unnecessary costs. And that sets up the next step, knowing which reset methods actually work once the real issue has already been fixed. What if you've already taken care of the issue, replaced the faulty part, or had the repair done, but that irritating dashboard light refuses to turn off? This is one of the most common frustrations drivers talk about. The car is running perfectly fine, the problem is fixed, and yet the bright orange reminder is still staring back at you every time you start the engine. That's when many people start looking for no-tool reset methods and wonder, why won't this light disappear right away? There are actually two main reset strategies you can try without any equipment at all. The first is called ignition cycling. Think of it like restarting a frozen laptop or a smartphone. It doesn't always solve the bigger issue, but it can refresh the system. In some vehicles, turning the key to the on position, waiting several seconds, and then shutting it back off repeatedly will prompt the internal computer to recheck its sensors. After a few cycles, if the faulty condition no longer exists, the light may finally switch off on its own. It's a simple trick, and when it works, it feels like you've just fixed the problem with no extra effort. Then there's the second strategy, which sounds almost too easy. Just keep driving. Many modern cars are programmed to run internal diagnostics while you're on the road. They test emission levels, fuel ratios, temperature readings, and dozens of other values in real time. Once the system detects that everything is back to normal and that a repair has truly resolved the fault, it can clear the error and turn the light off automatically. This method takes patience, because the clearance doesn't always happen within the first few miles. Sometimes it may require multiple trips, different speeds, or specific driving conditions before the car's computer decides everything checks out. Now, a fascinating example of how this works in practice comes from the Fiat 500. Buried in that car's settings is a reset sequence for its oil change reminder. It doesn't need special equipment, just a series of ignition and pedal presses, almost like a hidden code. Only by knowing the exact steps can you reset it successfully. That's proof that manufacturers often design these resets intentionally, but they're tucked away in procedures most drivers don't stumble onto. Think of your dashboard as a guide, not a nuisance. A stable light is a reminder to schedule diagnosis soon, but a flashing one demands an urgent stop before real harm is done. Knowing this difference protects more than your car's systems. It can protect your wallet from sky-high repair bills and ultimately your safety on the road.